photo gallery to. So that the main benefits of the QFD is both design and the development of the process. So on the basis of the design and process is okay, then our customer should be satisfied. What are the components of the QFD? What are the components of QFD? So there are 4 components of QFD. One is house of quality, core tool of the QFD, the voice of the customer, and the groundwork for the gathering the customer's insights. First is house of quality. What do you mean by house of quality? So many people confuse the house of quality to be the same thing as QFD. No, but it is actually, this is the core tool for the QFD method. So it contains several rooms. You figure it's several rooms which creates house shaped matrix. But figure ta dekhauchi. Number photo gallery. देखा जाऊन भल गिरी. These are the it contains several rooms which create a house shaped matrix. So it is from the Six Sigma concept. So it is that there is no universally accepted version of the house of the quality. So some variations are there. Then we go for the along with the methodology phases. That both are accept kora jauni as a thing. So that on the basis of there are few core rooms that frequently appears. I would a slide देखौछि तुमको. Sorry, number photo gallery. So here, left side is the list of the customers requested features along with the weighted number for the level of importance. That means how the particular system occurs. Then in the right side, competitive analysis with a weighted number of strength or weakness of the customer's requested features. Next is ATIC. ATIC means what are the control factors like product design, product engineering. This section is also known as what. What means what should be done. Another is main room. Main room re kon achi? This is also known as the relationship matrix. The main room is a place to score the relationship between customers' requested features and control factors. So that high relationship score means the control factor has a direct impact on the satisfaction of the customers' requested features. Suppose the control factor is a weight of the product. Control factor, weight of the product, is requested a lightweight product. Then it has high relationship. Another is से जो फिगर टार से जो रूम गुडा को हम जब केमिति तक एक्सप्लेन करिवा. फोटो गैलरी. The room of the relationship section describe the relationship between control factors. Last is the foundation. The third part. So foundation is the importance of the rating is found here. The higher the number, higher the priority it should be for the development. The foundation calculated by the evaluating the column of control factor. The numbering kara on the basis of the production operation management what are the factors affecting plant location? Plant location, there are so many models are there. Locational model. पढ़िଛ ना नहीं? First पहला तुम्हारा quantitative model, qualitative model, break-even analysis model, center of gravity model, median model, बहुत मॉडल सब अच्छे. आपको बेस करके how should you select the particular site of the plant? चार पांचटा साइट अच्छी से साइट की बेस करके तुम को साइट टा तुम्हारा बेस्ट हबो हम ताको on the basis of that you should select the plant site. The other one is factor rating model, point rating model, factor rating model, point rating model, तापर को अच्छी break even analysis model, center of gravity model, तापर को अच्छी median model, qualitative model, quantitative model, outer model is mixed model, both qualitative and quantitative. पढ़िଛ ना नहीं? हेलो हेलो
No, sir.
पढ़िथबो निहाती. What are the factors affecting the one syllabus थिला? What are the factors affecting plant location? ଯଦି ନ ପଢିଛନ୍ତି ଟିକେ ଦେଖିବେ କେତେଗୁରା ସବୁ ମଡେଲ ସବୁ ଅଛି. ଆମେ ସେ ମଡେଲ କୁ ବେସ୍ କରିକି ଆମେ କଣ କରୁଛୁ ସିଲେକ୍ସନ ଅଫ ଦ ସାଇଟ୍. କୋଉ ସାଇଟ୍ ଟାକୁ ଆମେ ଠିକ କରିବା. ବହୁତ ମଡେଲ ଅଛି ତ ପଢିବ ଇନ ଫ୍ୟୁଚର ଯଦି ଦରକାର ପଡିବ କିନ୍ତୁ ଅଛି ତା ଦେହରେ ମଡେଲ. ସେ ଯୋଉ ଫ୍ୟାକ୍ଟର ରେଟିଂ ମଡେଲ ଗୋଟେ ଅଛି ଜଷ୍ଟ କହିଦଉଛି ଟିକେ ଗୋଟେ ସେକେଣ୍ଡ. Location model, factor rating model, point rating model, break-even analysis model, qualitative factor model, quantitative factor model, बहुत मॉडल सब अच्छे. Suppose मैं छोटा एग्जांपल दूँगी. Suppose there are 10 factors are given. 10टा फैक्टर अच्छे. First factor है tax advantages. Second factor है suitability of labor skill. Third factor है proximity to market. Fourth is proximity to supplier, then final adequacy of water, receptivity of the community facility, quality educational system, access to railway and transportation facility, and suitability of climate, availability of power. ये सब एक factors. Suppose आमे दुईटा फैक्टर को आमे नेगरी करछो, दुईटा लोकेशन को नेगरी करछो. Suppose गोटे हला पारादीप गोटे दामनजोड़ी. सपोज दामनजोड़ी सपोज टैक्स होची दामनजोड़ी रे 6 पारादीप रे 8 आउट ऑफ 10 पॉइंट स्केल रे माने एठी दामनजोड़ी के कम टैक्स निया जीवो एठी के अधिक टैक्स निया जीवो. तापर आथले एजुकेशनल फैसिलिटी फैसिलिटी सब 10 रे दामनजोड़ी के देबो सपोज 4 आ पारादीप देबो सपोज 8 कि 6. ये जो फैक्टर गुड़ा को तब मल्टीप्लाई कर दे फैक्टर रेटिंग मॉडल रे मल्टीप्लाई कर देखिए जो फैक्टर रेटिंग मॉडल टा अधिका थिबा आ सेठी कोन करा से साइट टा हमें चूज करबा साइट ए और साइट बी. अब अनदर मॉडल इज ब्रेक इवन मॉडल. जस्ट कहि दो ठीक है सुनो मुझे तो स्लाइड करने आला. सपोज देयर आर 3 साइट्स आर गिवन राइट. तीनटा साइट अछि साइट ए साइट बी साइट सी. यदि मु साइट ए टा सिलेक्ट करी मोर सपोज फिक्स कॉस्ट खर्च हम 25,000. साइट बी टा को मु सिलेक्ट करले खर्च हम 50,000. साइट सी टा को क्लिक करले मोर खर्च हम 80,000. बट इन वेरिएबल कॉस्ट साइट ए पे रुपीस 50 टंका, साइट बी पे रुपीस 25 रुपीस, साइट सी पे हला 15 टंका. इति पैसा मोर खर्च. किंतु मु डिसाइड करछि जे मु 2000 यूनिट्स मु प्रोडक्शन करिवि मासु मु 2000 यूनिट मोर प्रोडक्शन 2000 यूनिट. तापर मु सेठी कोन कर ब्रेक इवन एनालिसिस बाहर करबी. टोटल कॉस्ट केते अछि. टोटल कॉस्ट इज इक्वल टू फिक्स्ड कॉस्ट प्लस वेरिएबल कॉस्ट इनटू क्वांटिटी प्रोड्यूस. ଆଉ ଯଦି ଖାତା କଲମ ଅଛି ଲେଖି ଦିଅନ୍ତୁ total cost is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost into quantity produced। ତାହେଲେ ମୋର ହେଲା କଣ ସାଇଟ୍ ଏ ସାଇଟ୍ ବି ସାଇଟ୍ ସି। ମୋର ସାଇଟ୍ ଏ ରେ ଖର୍ଚ୍ଚ ହବ 1,25,000, ସାଇଟ୍ ବି ରେ ଖର୍ଚ୍ଚ ହବ 1 ଲାख, ସାଇଟ୍ ସି ରେ ଖର୍ଚ୍ଚ ହବ 1,10,000। ସବୁବେଳେ ଏଭରି ଏଣ୍ଟରପ୍ରେନ୍ୟୁର ସେ ଡିସାଇଡ୍ କରିବ କୋଉଠି କମ ପଇସା ଖର୍ଚ୍ଚ ହବ। ଯୋଉଠି କମ ପଇସା ଖର୍ଚ୍ଚ ହବ ସେଇଠି ସେ ପ୍ଲାନ୍ ଟା ତିଆରି କରିବ ହେଲା। ଯୋଉଠି କମ ପଇସା ଖର୍ଚ୍ଚ ହବ ସେଇଠି ପ୍ଲାନ୍ ଟା ତିଆରି ହବ, ତିଆରି କରିବ ସେ। ତେଣୁ ଦେଖାଗଲା ଯେ ସି ରେ 1,00,000 ଟଙ୍କା ଖର୍ଚ୍ଚ ହଉଛି, ତେଣୁ ସେ ସାଇଟ୍ ସି ଟାକୁ ସେ ନବ। এই প্রকার গুড়াଏ প্রকার লোকেশনাল প্ଲାଣ୍ଟ ଅଛି, ଫ୍ୟାକ୍ଟର ରେଟିଂ ପ୍ଲାଣ୍ଟ ଅଛି, ଆମେ ବେସିସ୍ ଫ୍ୟାକ୍ଟର ରେଟିଂ ଫାଉଣ୍ଡେସନ କଷ୍ଟ ସେ ସେଠି ନଉଛି। ଆଚ୍ଛା, another concept is voice of customer। voice of a customer। So voice of customer basically the first step building of the house of quality, and subsequently the entire quality function deployment methodology is to be developed the voice of the customer। That means the voice of customer summarizes customers' needs, wants, preference, and desire associated with the product of services। ଆମେ କଷ୍ଟମରକୁ ନେଇକିରି ଆମେ ଚଳିବା, ଆମେ ମନ ଇଚ୍ଛା ତ କିଛି କରିପାରିବାନି, କଷ୍ଟମରକୁ ନେଇକିରି ଆମେ ଚଳିବା ସେଠି। ଗୋଟେ ସେକେଣ୍ଡ, ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ସ୍ଲାଇଡ୍ ଦେଖୁଛି। ଫଟୋ ଗ୍ୟାଲେରୀ ଗୋଟେ ମିନିଟ୍। So voice of a customer, voice of the customer basically it summarizes customers' needs, customers' wants, customers' preference, and desire associated with the product or services। आपको बेस करके जेकौन गोटे but the help of the VOC, the voice of customer, to develop the VOC we need to create a solid market research report। market research जानते गोटे प्रोडक्ट जेकोनी तैयार करिया पाई गोटे कंपनी आगे गोटे मार्केट रिसर्च करे, देन एनालिसिस करे, देन कंक्लूजन बाहर करे। जदि देखिबो जे कंक्लूजन रे ठीक ठाक अछि ताले से कोन करे से प्रोडक्ट को तैयार करी मार्केट को छाड़ियो, नले नले तैयार करबा। so that to develop the voice of the customer we need to create a solid market research report। Ideally we should use a significant sample size to get the most accurate result। एटी पुणी आसला sample देखिबो हम मन इच्छा तो sample size नबानी, ଆମେ सपोज हम गोटे स्टडी सपोज करिबी कहबी सोशियो इकोनॉमिक स्टेटस ऑफ स्लम पीपल इन भुवनेश्वर सिटी, स्लम एरिया। ମାନେ ଭୁବନେଶ୍ୱର ସିଟିରେ ପାଖାପାଖି 1,000-2,000 ସ୍ଲମ୍ ଏରିଆ ଅଛି, ବସ୍ତି ଏରିଆ ଅଛି। ତାଙ୍କ ମାନଙ୍କର ଇକୋନୋମିକ କଣ୍ଡିସନ କଣ, ଆମେ ତ ସବୁ ଡିଟେଲ ନେଇକି ଆମେ ତାକୁ ଷ୍ଟଡି କରିବାନି। ପ୍ରତି ଇୟର 50ଟା ଲେଖା ସାମ୍ପଲ ନବା କି 40ଟା ଲେଖା ସାମ୍ପଲ ନବା, ସାମ୍ପଲ ନେଇକି ଷ୍ଟଡି କରିବା। ଅନ୍ ଦ ବେସିସ୍ ଅଫ ଦ୍ୟାଟ ତାପରେ ଦେଖିବା ଯେ ହଁ ଆମର ଇକୋନୋମିକ କଣ୍ଡିସନ ଭଲ ଅଛି କି କଣ ଅଛି, କଣ ଗୋଟେ ଅଛି। ଆଚ୍ଛା, ସେ କହୁଛି ଅନ୍ ଦ ବେସିସ୍ ଅଫ ମାର୍କେଟ ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚ, हमें मार्केट रिसर्च स्टडी कर रहे हैं on the basis of the voice of the customers। So how to gather the customers feedback to build the voice of the customers? Either it is a survey method or user interview or focus group, review Then, and how to collect the information or customer's feedback, how to find out on the basis of survey, on the basis of the user interview, on the basis of the focus group, or the reviews, user request, real feedback. ତାକୁ ନେଇକିରି ଆମେ କରିବା. Then another concept is product analytic. Product analytic. Concept? Once we find specific items customers are requesting, then we can ask customers how important it is to them to have them item, so that we can rank the items in order of the importance. ଆମେ ranking କରିଦବା, product analytic କରିବା on the basis of the ranking. Then then basis of the ranking listed, so that the weighted ଅଧିକା ଆମେ ସେଇଟାକୁ ନବା. Then question is, what are the phases of quality functions deployment? What are the phases of quality function deployment? So there are 4 phases. First is product planning. The product planning phase begins with gathering customers' feedback to develop the VOC, value of the customers, voice of the customers. Then we will identify the control factor. In this phase, it is usually technical requirements are there. So there are many, so competitive analysis will be find out what is to find out the strength and weakness of our competitors. On the basis of that, product planning helps prioritizing customers' requirement. Customer କହିଦେଲେ ଆମେ priority ଦେବା, କୋଉଟାକୁ ଆଗେ ନେବା, କୋଉଟାକୁ ପଛେ ନେବା, କୋଉଟାକୁ ନେବା. Then second, defining the product requirement. କ'ଣ product requirement to define. Third part is creating customer focus roadmap. Creating a customer focus product roadmap we should find out. Then second is product development. Agala planning kare. Product planning. Second part is product development. So technical requirement to move to the house of the quality matrix. So the new set of control factors are to be put on the top. The control factors for the product development are usually critical parts or product space. So product development पे हमारा technical team दरकार. In the product development phases, the goal is to recognize the key parts to build a feature. It also helps incorporating customers' requirement into product design. Number 2, collaborating with the cross-functional teams. Number 3, ensuring design consistency and quality. Oh, I would say that. Okay, in the product development phase, our goal is to recognize the key parts of the build up of features. It incorporating customers' requirement into product design. Number 2, collaborating with cross-functional teams. Number 3, ensuring quality. Third phase is process planning. This is very, very important. In process planning, on the base of the product and the component specification found in the previous phase, this section identifies process necessary to build features and deliver the functionality. So this is a crucial information for product and quality teams. Then this the house of quality matrix. The control factors are steps to build the product spaces. So we should discover which process will have the best impact on creating the product space. So basically, this phase may be good time for identifying, verification, and validation, which including conducting prototype testing and customer trial, validation of product design and functionality, gathering and analyzing customers' feedback. Number 4, process quality control. In process quality control, fourth stage. In this stage, tends to more crucial for manufacturing than software development. It is designed to help we can identify the best way to check the quality of the process identified in the previous phase, when process planning phase. So the house of quality matrix is built by putting process on the right side, the top section of the control phase. So our team can determine which controls are most useful and create quality targets. Identify kariba. Then suppose for SaaS company, company. In this phase, implementation and continuous improvement. ସବୁବେଳେ ମୁଁ କାଲି ବି କହିଥିଲି continuous improvement ନିହାତି ଦରକାର. Continuous improvement ନହେଲେ ହବନି. Then question is, the product development କରୁଛେ. What is the role of quality function in the product development? କ'ଣ? ଗଲା. Then question is, the quality function deployment kale. What are the examples? What is the example of quality function deployment? There are so many examples are there. On the basis of the methodology, develop VOC by gathering customers' feedback. हम काम लगे market research करी then हमें conclude development करेगा. Number 2, once we have identified the features important to our customers, put them the left sides of the house of quality matrix and a weighted score of the importance of each feature of the section. Weighted दे दवा केते केते suppose हम 10 point scale नेले कि 5 point scale नेले. स्केलिंग तो जानी थे हमर स्केलिंग रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी रे स्केलिंग पढ़ा आइतला मन अछि ना नहीं. हेलो हेलो
हेलो सर.
हेलो वो स्केलिंग जाने जाने स्केलिंग टेक्निक whenever you should prepare a questionnaire, whenever you should prepare a questionnaire, अपन जो questionnaire जो तैयारी करिवे for the survey, questionnaire करिवे what type of questions you have to ask, whether it is yes or no question, right or wrong question, or multiple choice question, एमती तक क्वेश्चन पचारि परिवे आउट हला कंटीजेंसी क्वेश्चन कंटीजेंसी क्वेश्चन माने फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज योर जनरल क्वेश्चन, सेकंड क्वेश्चन ऑप्शन क्वेश्चन। फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन सपोज कहबो जा कले इफ यस व्हाई, इफ नो व्हाई, तो यस हला काहे कि नो हला भी काहे कि। so the second part question is called the contingency question. another question is specific question, बहुत प्रकार क्वेश्चन आपण पचारि परिवे तांको, किंतु तादर ଗୋଟେ स्केलिंग टेक्निक यूज होची। देखो 5 पॉइंट स्केल, 7 पॉइंट स्केल, एबे आसी गलानी 14 पॉइंट स्केल। अच्छा इन 5 पॉइंट स्केल क्वेश्चन मोटा कहूची, सपोज मु कहबे should pocket money given to the children, particularly for school children, should pocket money given to the school children, आपन ओपिनियन कोन? should pocket money given to the school children, yes or no? हेलो हेलो हेलो
हाँ सर,
Yes, sir.
हेलो
हेलो
yes अच्छा हेलो अच्छा हाउ वाला should pocket money given to the school children, आपन yes कहले। अच्छा मु ताटा स्केलिंग टेक्निक नै छी, मु नै 0 1 2 -1 -2। 0 हला न्यूट्रल, 1 हला एग्री, 2 हला स्ट्रांगली एग्री, -1 हला डिसएग्री, -2 हला स्ट्रांगली डिसएग्री। मते यही बेस रे कहले should pocket money given to the school children, neutral, agree, strongly agree, disagree, strongly disagree. What is your opinion?
Too strongly agree.
Strongly agree. अच्छा एटा भ्यारी करियो, बहुत बहुत भी समझ को जे काहे कि तो पॉकेट मनी तो पिला को देवा, हम तो तांको टिफिन दउछु सब दउछु पण काहे पॉकेट मनी दबा, तो ठीक अछि आपन को अनुसार आपन कहले जे हां स्ट्रांगली एग्री। आ गोटे क्वेश्चन कहूँ, youngsters, young generations are not giving respect to their elders. Young generations should not give respect their elders. आजिकली पिला माने बड़ लोक मान को सम्मान दउनांती। आपनकर मते पॉइंट रे कहंतु, न्यूट्रल, एग्री, स्ट्रांगली एग्री, डिसएग्री, स्ट्रांगली डिसएग्री।
Agree.
What is your opinion? Agree. आजिकल सिचुएशन से हेलानी, आजिकल सिचुएशन सब से हे गलानी, तन करे एटा हो ओपिनियन बेस्ड क्वेश्चन। ओपिनियन गोटे मिनिट रो So this is your opinion based question. এটা আপনাদের ভ্যারি করিবা पर्सन टू पर्सन अच्छा ଯେମିତି ସ୍କେଲିଂ ଟେକ୍ନିକରେ ଆପଣ ୱେଟେଜ ଠିକ ସେଇଭଳି ଶିଖୁଛି in second point what is the example of the quality function deployment. So once we have identified the features important to our customers, put on the left side of the house of the quality matrix, add a weighted score of the importance on each feature of the section. Then add the control factors to the top. In this product planning phase, it is usually product specification or design requirement. Then competitor analysis should be there and identify the relationship between VOC and the control factors. Then review the interrelationship between the control factors and how they can impact each other. Calculate the importance rating, then analyze the results, then further analysis of the results. This is the example of the quality function deployment. Then another is what is the role of QFD in the product development? What is the role of QFD product development? Basically, the house of quality matrix, get and matrix, it is very complex. So that quality function deployment helps product development team to create customer-centric products. It takes every stages of the product development process and ensures the VOC is prioritized. जोटा प्रायोरिटी बेस करके आम नहीं तुम भी से प्रायोरिटी जो रोल आसला तुम आगे थी कौटी प्रोडक्शन मैनेजमेंट रे पढ़ी द सीक्वेंसिंग रूटिंग सीक्वेंसिंग गोटा थी ना भी तुम पीपीसी रे भी पढ़ा प्रायोरिटीज रोल गोटा पढ़ा तो सीक्वेंसिंग केमिति करिवे सब तक प्रॉब्लम फेस देथिबो सपोज छोटे एग्जांपल मु दउछि सपोज ए टेलर मास्टर ताको कपड़ा देलो से ताके कोन करिवो आगे तो मेजरमेंट नबो तापर को कटिंग करिवो तापर को स्टिचिंग करिवो तापर बटन लगेबो तापर को आयरन करिवो तापर को तुमको डिलीवरी करिवो ये जो तार गोटे एलिमेंट पर्टिकुलर वर्क that can be divided into small parts. That part is called the element. ये जो एलिमेंट भितर ते प्रायोरिटी देबो का को आगे मेजरमेंट को देबो तापर को सेकंड को देबो कटिंग देबो ये जो प्रायोरिटीज अछि से प्रायोरिटी बेस करके से कोन करछि और को दैट इज कॉल्ड द गैंट चार्ट गैंट GANTT गैंट चार्ट ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द जॉनसन रूल सेटा अच्छी से बोधे पढ़ेबे बोधे कि तुम पढ़ी थो मु जानिनी हला अच्छा देन what is the role of QFD in the system? So house of quality matrix also promote discovery of the features that complement each other so that along with the way it can help discover area where our customer has an unmet need from you and your competitors. आम कंपिटिटर केते अच्छी आम ताको आगे मार्क करिबा आम कंपिटिटर कौन कौन तार अच्छी क्लू अच्छी तार कौन खराब जिनस अच्छी ताको केमते आम ताको so that on the basis of the feedback QFD can costly quantity function deployment is very costly because it takes time to gather customer feedback and process the data बहुत समय नबो बहुत समय डाटा जे कलेक्शन करे तो पैसा भी खर्च हो some aspects of the house quality matrix such as determining the relationship matrix are subjective. The best result is multidisciplinary group reviews the matrix. विभिन्न प्रकार कैटेगरी लोक मन जाई ताको डाटा कलेक्शन करिवे खाली गोटे डाटा कलेक्शन करले हबनी विभिन्न गोटे फिजिकली गोटे मेंटली मैं एटू छोटे जिंस टी कहूची गोटे कांसेप्ट अछि इन रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी रे पढितो न पढो जानि गोटा होछि मल्टी डायमेंशनल स्केलिंग सपोज जने कार किनिया जाय से आगे कोन देखियो गुड़िया डायमेंशन से देखियो खाली पैसा देखियोनी गुड़िया डायमेंशन गोटे साइकोलॉजिकल डायमेंशन देखियो फिजिकल डायमेंशन देखियो इकोनॉमिकल डायमेंशन देखियो तीन चार प्रकार से डायमेंशन देखियो ତାପରେ ଗୋଟେ କଲର ବି ଫିଜିକାଲ ମାନେ କଲର ତମ ବାସ୍ତୁ ଅନୁସାରେ ତମ ରାଶି ସହିତ କୋଉ କଲର ପଇସା ଦେଖିବ, ଫୁଏଲ କେତେ ଅଛି ଦେଖିବ, କେତେ କମ ମାନେ ଫୁଏଲ ଯେମିତି ଅଧିକା ଯାଉଥିବ ଦେଖିବ। ବିଭିନ୍ନ ପ୍ରକାର ଡାଇମେନସନ ନେଇଆସୁଛି, ଖାଲି ଗୋଟେ ଡାଇମେନସନରେ ତମେ ଯିବନି। ଫିଜିକାଲ ସାଇକୋଲୋଜିକାଲ ଦେଖିବ, ତମର ସପୋଜ ତମେ ଯାଇଛ ଗୋଟେ I10 ଗାଡି କିଣିବାକୁ, ଯିଏ ଆଗରୁ ସବୁ I10 ଗାଡି କିଣି ତାଙ୍କୁ ପଚାରିବ, ନହେଲେ ତମେ ଦେଖିବ ତମ ଘର ପାଖରେ ସେ I10 ଗାଡି କିଣିଛୁ, ତାଙ୍କ 2-3 ଥର ଆକ୍ସିଡେଣ୍ଟ ହେଇଛି, ସେ I10 ଗାଡିଟା ବେଶୀ ଆକ୍ସିଡେଣ୍ଟ ଆମେ ତ କିଣିବା। ସାଇକୋଲୋଜିକାଲି ସୋ ମଲ୍ଟି ଡାଇମେନସନ ଫ୍ୟାକ୍ଟରକୁ ନେଇକି ଆମେ କରିବା। Then question is cross-functional collaboration. What is cross-functional collaboration? In cross-functional collaboration, for the quality function deployment promotes cross-functional collaboration and communication among different departments and teams involved in the development process. So interdisciplinary teamwork fosters a shared understanding of customers' needs and helps align factors, efforts across the organization. So that in quality improvement, how to quality improvement can kariba? By translating customers required to specific technical characteristics. Customer कहूँ ये जिनसे सब हेले भला होगा. Then our transfer करिवे technical characteristics and optimizing process so that QFD helps organizations design and deliver the products or services that are consistently meet quality standards, reducing defects and reward. Another is competitive advantages. So QFD emphasis on understanding and exceeding customers' needs can differentiate an organization's offering from competitors, providing a competitive edge in the market. So that on the basis of the quality function deployment, so एटी कौन करा जीवो, whenever particular should launching the product or continuous monitoring customer satisfaction जानिया पड़िबो। हम सब बड़े फेस टू फेस आमे जीवा ताकि से जानिबा जे हमर कस्टमर रिक्वायरमेंट केते होउची, कस्टमर कोन चाहूची। On the basis of that, then we should collect the data. Then incorporating customers feedback into product improvement. तांको ही पचारियो कस्टमर बाबा कौन कले भलो हो, ensuring product meets changing customers needs and market trends. इनटा दिन सब नेगरी करिया को पड़ी हला। So this is all about your quality function deployment. Other gote question, compulsory question. What is the quality function deployment? What are the phases of the quality function deployment? What is the benefits? What are the benefits? What is the role of our C group? जो question गुड़ा आते छोटे question. What is the role of quality function deployment in product development? What is the benefit of quality function deployment? यही type of question. अदर मुझे material करची, है ना? अच्छा कोई मुझे C चार्टा भूली जाई थी, आज C चार्टा आते एंट्री कर दिली, आज पठे दी है ना? Thank you. Hello. Hello. Hello.
हाँ सर,
हाँ
Yes, sir.
हाँ right. Thank you.
Okay, so good morning to all.
Good
Hello.
morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Okay. Let me start with the new topic that is your demand forecasting. Right. Let's say let me share my slide to you people. Thereafter, you have to start. Uh, this will stop other screens and do you want to continue? Yes. Right. I think it is visible to you people.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now, before we start with the term, what is called the forecasting. In the last class, we covered the term. What is the meaning of your, let's say, scheduling and sequencing, right? We may come across different type of sequencing process, like one machine, multiple job, two machine with the multiple job. And in the same pattern, we can enter into the next, the multiple machine with the multiple job, right? So we already saw all these things with the help of your, that is called as the Johnson's rule. And again, we saw those things with the help of your Gantt chart also, right? So these are the things that we have to cover in the last class. Now we are to moving to the next topic, next module, that is called the demand forecasting, right? So for forecasting in the sense, actually throughout the production's life cycle, starting with the introduction, I mean, brainstorming, what to produce, what to provide the services and so on. From the brainstorming, how you have to start with, the production stage, and thereafter one by one, then move to the maturity, then decline stage of the, for your product's life cycle. Each and every phase of the life cycle, their existence of your forecasting. The forecasting, it may be your short term, your long term, depending upon the type of situations. On the basis of that, we are able to forecast the things. Forecast means prediction, right? The prediction of the demand. Because let's say, for example, you're running one restaurant. How many meal that you have to prepare for today? That will be depending upon the past data. So how many customers are there in a specific day? On an average, how many customers to be arrive to your hotel? On the basis of that, you have to prepare. So that is the forecasting. That means without forecast, it is very difficult to, producing the product or providing the services. So forecast is a prediction or the estimation of the future situations. Demand forecasting is the predicting the future demand for the product, or in the other one, it refers to the predictions of the probable demand for a product or service on the basis of the past event and the prevailing the trends in the present. That means you are able to predict the things, but you have to know the past data. Without knowing the past data, it is very difficult to, judging the term, what is called as the how much you are going to be produce or how much you are able to, the unit of the product going to be served and so on. So therefore, the forecasting process purely depending on the previous year data or the past data. And not only that, what is the current trend of that particular demand? On the basis of that, you are able to predicting it, right? Now, what are the different types we may come across the term what is called the demand? If you're moving to the term that the types of demand, let's say start with the, the forecasting concepts, like say passive forecast, active forecast. Let's start with this two. Then we have to move to the from some other things are there. Passive in the sense, you know, what is the meaning of the passive? Because passive forecast, active forecast, passive in the sense it is not so aggressive, rather with the defensive mode, to providing the things, right? That is the passive one. Active in the sense is the aggressive mode to be that, right? That the two things. Let's start with the first bit, what is called the passive forecast. Under passive forecast, the prediction about the future based upon the assumptions that the firm does not change the course of its action. Because what it produces continuously produces in that particular pattern. Because what the product will be going on, it is be fixed. No need to change the product because it is a I mean, standard product which it be accepted by almost all the societies of the country. So therefore, they try to never change the product, rather they try to continue to the producing the same sort of things. Then comes to the passive demand forecasting is a simplest type. In this particular model, you use the sales data from the past prediction the future, because the sales data of the previous, let's say 4 to 5 months, then we are able to predict in the coming some time periods, like the simulations. Because in simulations, same concept we take into account, same situations, same environment, you have to manufacture the product, because the simulation is a one type of forecast which has to be more or less the passive type. You should use the data from the same sections of the to the project the cells in the future. So you compare the apples to the apples. That means, let for example, you are manufacturing the the product with that. Why you take into account the simulation? Simulation means a constant environment, fixed environment, no change in the taste preference and so on. So thereafter, from the past preferences or the past feature, you are able to predict the futures. So this is particularly true if your business has a seasonal fluctuations with it. Why it is called the seasonal fluctuation? Okay. Because you know the trend data. The trend data means the short-term fluctuation or oscillation, or the long-term oscillations are there, or seasonal oscillations are there. I mean, oscillation in that upswing and downswing. So upswing and downswing of the demand to be takes place due to the peak. Let's say during the peak season, demand is more. Due to the off season, demand is less. Let's say, for example, the demand for the umbrella, demand for the woolen clothes are in the peak situation during the winter, or umbrella during the period of the rainy season, right? But the demand for the let's say woolen clothes in the summer, it is not so. So that means it is the summer the peak season, summer the off peak season. Okay. So therefore, this is the type of passive forecasting. It is particularly true if the business are to be used for the seasonal fluctuations. Passive forecasting models works well if you have to, the solid sales data, to the build on. Because why it is called a solid data? Because your forecast depending upon the past data. If the data is to be not the perfect one, it is very difficult to the predicting it. Because what are the case may be, all kind of forecast requires some sort of the past data. If the past data is the perfect, then you're able to predicting it. In addition, this is a good model for the business that aim at the stability rather than the growth, because it is a stable demand. Okay, it is not the fluctuation in demand. It is not continuously changes. It is not a dynamic. It is a fixed one. It is an approach that assumes that this year's sales will be approximately the same at least the last year. That means what is the past year data? Last year sales, more or less sales to be more remaining the same. It is fluctuated very negligible. Deviation is very negligible terms. So the passive demand forecasting is easier than the other type of demand, because it does not require you to use the statistical methods to study the economic trend, because it is very simple. Last year data, what is the last year data? What is the last demand? And this year data is to be given to you, and exactly in the same amount of the data demand to be explained. Therefore, it is a very simple one. It does not require any statistical model or the methods, calculation. Thereafter, you are able to predict it. Active forecast. Under the active forecast, the prediction is done under the conditions of likely the future change in the auctions by the farm, because it is not static as in the passive one. It is a dynamic one, because the demand fluctuated, the taste preferences fluctuated, right? If your business in a growth phase, or if you are just starting out of your business, active demand forecasting is a good choice. An active forecasting method or the model, it takes into considerations of the market research and marketing campaigning and the expansions plan, because we know it is not fixed, rather it is a dynamic one, and always the demand to be fluctuated. It may be up or down. So on the basis of the dynamic situation, you are able to predict that the active forecast. But in case of the passive, there is a static situation, no change in the demand and so on. Active projections will often, the factors in the external factors are there, considerations of uh, I mean, it includes the economic outlook, the growth projections for your market sector and the projected cost savings and the supply chain efficiencies. The startups that have the less historical data trying at the well net at the basic of their assumptions, this assumption of the external data. Okay. This active forecast is required, not the, I mean, like in case the passive with the past data is required. But here it is not the data to be the fixed one as in case of a passive, but here the data to be deferred data to be that, because different situation, different amount of the demand to be that. But in passive, what you find, the demand to be remains constant. But in case of an active, what you find, it with demand changes according to the season, demand changes according to the, I mean, the taste and preferences and so on. So therefore, it requires some statistical method in order to analyzing the prediction of the future data. Then come to the short-term and long-term forecasting. This is the active and passive. Now come to the short-term demand forecasting and long-term demand forecasting. In short-term forecast, the seasonal patterns are much importance because seasons to be takes place. It is not the over the long period of time, over a decade, rather in a particular year, within the different type of month, we have come across the data to be fluctuated. So the seasonal patterns are to be much important to be here. It may be quarterly, it may be monthly, it may be, I mean, let's say that is called the fortnightly or something else. It may occur in the period of the 3 months, 6 months, or even though it be 1 year. It is one which provide the informations of the tactical decisions which period is to be chosen depending upon the nature of the business, because you can calculate monthly, you can calculate quarterly, you can calculate weekly, you can calculate fortnightly, something else. But what type of prediction you are going to be taking into account on the nature of the prediction, nature of the business, we have to take into account considering the term what is the pattern, whether the month, quarter, or it is the weekly or fortnightly or what. Such a forecast helps the, I mean, preparing the suitable for the sales policies, because sales policies depend upon the seasonal items. Therefore, the seasonal impact, to study the seasonal impact, we have to calculate the short-term fluctuations. Then come down to the long-term forecasting demand. In the long term means over a decade, right? Over a and long period of time. You have to be yearly data is to be required. So long-term forecasts are helpful in the suitable the capital planning, means long-term planning. If the future prediction say, I mean, it is not a strategic planning it is required. It's not the short-term goal, rather the long-term goals are there. It is one which provides the informations for the major strategic decisions. It helps in saving the waste material, manpower, the man-hour, the machine time, and the capacities of all the resources. So the planning of a new unit must be started with an analysis of the long-term demand potential of the product of the farm. In order to predicting the long-term decisions, we require the long-term data. Long-term data in the sense yearly data you required. In the seasonal data, that is the short-term fluctuation, require the seasonal data. But here the yearly data is required. Thereafter, we are able to calculate the forecasting the long-term basis. So we take into account the time scale, type of decisions, and example. We will take the case of the short-term plan. Short-term means within the 3 to 6 months. The type of decision is the operating decision in the production sector. And we can take the examples of the inventory control, production planning, distributions, etc. Right. If you take into account the midterm fluctuation of the data, the midterm fluctuation means 3 to 6 months to the 2 year. In that, the tactical changes regarding the productions of the service. For examples, you have the leasing of the plant and equipment, employment changes inside the production center. If you take into account the long-term fluctuations, you have the time scale to be long-term over the 2 year, then in that case, what type of decision? That is a strategic decision, operating decision, tactical decision, and your strategic decision. Operating decision is the short term, tactical decision little bit more. and strategic decisions over the year because long-term planning is required. For example, research and development, acquisition of the mergers, right? Product design, product changes, like that. So these are the different type of decisions undertaken during the different time scale, followed by certain examples are there. Then after knowing to the short-term, long-term, passive, active, move to the next case. External or the national group forecast and internal or the company group forecast. So that means external forecast and internal forecast. If you take considering that external concept, that is the national point of view, if you take the internal concept that is inside the company or the group of company that we have to take into account. So external forecast deals with the trend in the general business. It is usually prepared by the company's research by which the outside the consultant. That means we have to take into account the long-term fluctuation data. We have to take the case of your, national level and the international level. So that part is the external part, beyond the territory or the beyond the periphery of your company. It is the beyond the company you have to preparing it. Internal means inside the company, the group of company. Internal forecast includes all those that are related to the operations of a particular enterprise, like your the group of production center, like your Mapatlal group, DCM group, like that, and your, let's say, for the productions in terms of the group, financial group, you take the case example of the financial group also with that. So these are the group. That means the company. Inside the company group, we have to predicting it. The structure of the internal forecast includes the forecast of the annual sales, forecast relating to the productions and cost of the productions, forecast relating to the profit component, forecast related to the taxable income, or related to the cash resources, or related to the number of employees that you are going to be hired or fire, etc. Or required in the production center. All these things to be treated as the internal forecast. Okay. Now, after knowing the internal and external forecast, let's say how the forecast will take place during the product life cycle. As initially I told you, in which way the introduction stage, growth stage, maturity and decline stage, how you are preparing the term forecasting techniques. Because horizontal axis represent the time frame and the cycle, it will be starting from the introduction to the decline stage there, right? Let's just start with the introductions component. In case of introductions concepts, the productions failures, that means very beginning, right? In that case, so it is very hard to the forecast because you don't know, past data is very rarely available, okay? And very often we have to utilize the term qualitative method in order to predicting the things. Because in order to predict the future, we require the data, but in this time period, data is not available. Therefore, qualitatively, we have to do our forecasting process, like sales force jury opinion. You can take into account, let's say, Delphi approach and so on. So those are the things the latter end we cover. Then come down to the growth stage. In the growth stage, it may be the forecasting, it is the critical concept, both for the future magnitude, the future growth rate, or the long range of the forecast. Still it is very important because here is also the long run, because you have to produce the things for the not the short-term purpose. It is not a short-term production center you have to produce and forget. It's not a seasonal product. Maybe click, may not be click, but you have to producing for the long-term basis. Therefore, for the long-term, in the introductions part, growth path, you have to plan how the product will launches, in which way the product will capture the market, increasing the market share, it expands the market and so on. So therefore, we require the long-term predictions. Then come to the maturity period. Because if you're reaching the maturity period, it's easy to forecast because the past data is already available. On the basis of that, we can predicting it. So therefore, it requires the quantitative methods or the predicting it. Why the quantitative? Because we have some data. If you have some data, you are able to predict the things. Decline in the same thing. So the hard to the forecast, but the forecasting is to be less important because you already know when the you are if you are a manufacturing sector, you are in the verge of decline stage. So in the verge of the decline state, no need. You already capture the market. You already away of the major cream from the market, right? Therefore, no need for the forecasting in this particular stage of your decline in the product life cycle. Now, come to the different level of forecast. It may be macro level forecast, it may be industry level forecast, it may be farm level or the product line forecast. Let's start with the micro level, the macro, then micro means industries or the farms concept also. So macro level forecast means it concerned with the business conditions over the whole entire economy as a whole. It is measured by the appropriate index of industrial productions, national income, national expenditure, etc. Because we have to take the entire economy as a whole, aggregations concept. On the basis of that, we are able to predict it. Industry level forecast means less than that of the nation. Industry level, it prepared the different trades, associations. This is the best upon the survey and the customer intentions and analyze the statistical trends. Because you have some data for the previous part and thereby you can predict for the future. Farm level forecast more or less same. It is related to the individual farms. It is the most important from the managerial point of view. Why it is called the managerial point of view? Because you can judge the things whether you are in a profitable situation or we are in not a profitable situations. And where is the problem to occur, how to minimizing the problem. Therefore, forecast is important in this particular level. Then product line forecast, again, as you take into account the product line forecast, it is to be how the entire production center from the acquiring the raw materials till the, that is called the providing the sales after sales service, right? So all the things, the entire supply chain concept. It helps in the farms to decide which of the product or the products should have the priority in the allocation of the farm's limited resources, because you have to judge what is my requirement, how much is required it to be that in the market, then on the basis of that, how much available resources, and you have to utilizing those scarce resources to fulfill the demand in the long term. At the product line forecast. Then come to the techniques of the forecast. Entire forecasting technique is to be split into two parts. One is called the qualitative method of the techniques. Second one, the quantitative or the statistical method of the techniques are there. So in quantitative and qualitative no need for the future data, only discussions, observations, we can do it, but quantitative we require past data. So in qualitative method, the technique, it involves the collecting, analyzing non-numerical data. Like for example, the videos, the audios, you have to observations concepts are there to understand the concept, different type of opinion, sales opinion, jury opinion, experts opinion. Those are the experience. We can take the help of those persons also, to predict the things. That is what it called the qualitative methods. Quantitative method, it requires some numerical data. Okay? So that means in case of a quantitative or the statistical technique, it involves the collecting, analyzing, or the non-numerical, it is not a non-numerical data, but it is a numerical data for the statistical analysis. Okay? It is a numerical data, it is not a non-numerical data. Let me change the things because some typing error to be there, I think so. It is a control S. Right? It is a analyzing the numerical data. Okay. Collecting and analyzing the numerical data for the statistical analysis, because quantitative required numerical data, but qualitative it's required non-numerical data. Non-numerical is just observe. You have to share your experience. You have to provide your opinion like that. Now come to the qualitative. What are the different qualitative methods are there or techniques are there? So in qualitative techniques like your trend projections, market research, sales force composite, Delphi techniques. So these are the 4 different type of your qualitative methods for the predicting the future. So let's start with the first one, trend projection. Trend projection in the sense we are projecting for the future. Trend projection use the past sales data to project for the future sales. It is the simplest and the most I mean, straightforward demand forecasting method, because what is the trend on the basis of, let's say, each year 10% increases, then on the basis of that, you are to producing or manufacturing the 10% of the previous year output. So it's important to adjust the future projections to account for the historical, for anomalies. For examples, perhaps you heard I mean, the sudden scale of the demand in the last year. Okay, sudden peak in the demand in the last year. However, it happened after your product was featured on a particular television show. If the advertisement take into account, instantly people start to be influenced by that advertisement and suddenly rush for the purchasing that particular product. It is unusually, it's not repeated, it is not repeated, I mean, always. Occasionally it will be so. Or your e-commerce site got hacked, causing your sales to plunge. But this year, to note the unusual factors in the historical data when you use the trend projections method is very, very pathetic one, because instantly you know your demand increases for a certain extent. Let's say some climatic changes, demand is expanded more for the, I mean, let's for example, the refrigerator or the air cooler and so on. But suddenly what happened in the next year, it may not be so. Due to the climatic change, that much of, I mean, hot wave is not moved inside the economy. Automatically demand for those coolant activity reduces. So in that case, the trend projections will be essential. You have to observe the things, how the pattern of your future demand which changes. Then market research. Market research demand forecasting is based upon the data from the customer survey. It requires time and effort to send out the survey and tabulated data, but it is worth it. This method can provide the valuable insight you can get from the internal sales data. But if you're calculating the internal sales, observing the things nearby store and so on, you can find the appropriate figure. But if you have to collect the data with the help of the market survey and so on, in that case, you are able to predict perfectly. You can do this research work on an organic basis during the intensive research period. The market research can give you the better picture of your typical customers. Your survey can collect the demographic data that will help you to target the future market effort. Market research is particularly helpful for the young companies that are just getting to know their customers. Because you know, to understand the customer's opinion about your product, you have to interact with the customers. And this market survey is nothing but the interaction. You collect the data from the respondents, those who are utilizing that particular product. So when they share their opinion about their product, you just jot down their opinions, collect the informations, and on the basis of that, you try to modify your product and relaunch your product. So that is your market survey techniques. Next comes to the Salesforce composite. Salesforce composite demand forecasting method put you in the sales terms in the driver sets. That means it uses the feedback from the sales group to the forecast the customer's demand. Salesforce means those who are, let's say the salespeople are there engaging in the distributing your product. I mean, they have to be using in the process of the promotions or the branding of the particular product, right? So they can say what is the market trend, because they move to the stores to store, kirana store to the kirana store. I mean, they can move from the wholesaler to the wholesaler, depot to the depot. They move. As they move, they know what type of demand it is. If initially they'll provide some sort of sample, I mean, for product to that particular company, I mean, that particular store, we find in the next visit, we find it is remain the same. No one can purchasing that one. So that means they can provide the perfect informations whether the product it be demanded by the locality or not so. right? So that is the Salesforce people can provide the informations. This method gather the sales divisions with your manager and executive, the group made to develop the forecast as a team. Because as you are a salespeople, you're not moving to the almost all the areas of a particular locality. Rather, the different people to be scattered, that to be plotted in the gathering the information in the entire, I mean, big patch of land, and thereafter they come to a particular point, brainstorming debate takes place. After that, we are able to say how much demand will be there in the coming month. Then another qualitative method, what is called the Delphi approach. This Delphi approach or the Delphi technique, it leverages the expert's opinion on your market focus, because the experts, in that case, the sales people are there. Right now, we take into account the experts and what they provide the opinion about the product. They have to be sharing their thought. This method require engaging the outside experts and a skill facilitators. Facilitator means the moderators, because moderator have moderate the entire questionnaire, one by one question to the provide to the panel of discussions, and those discussions to be recorded, or it will be typed, or it will be any video recording or the audio recording to be takes place. Then we have to listen those sort of things, and thereafter we are able to the predict. So you start by sending the questionnaire to the group of demand forecasting experts. Then you create a summary of the response from the first round and share it to the panel. And this process is the repeated through the successive rounds. The answers from each round are to be shared to the unanimously, and influence the next set of the operations. The Delphi method is complete with the group comes to and once. That means, let's say inside Bhubaneswar, we try to gather the informations from the particular things. Right now, we have to know, let's say the election is going on, whether voters are to be preferred for the initiative party. Then scatterly they have to be enter into the different zone of the entire Bhubaneswar to be split into the 5 zones like east, west, north, central, and so on. Then they can interact with the voters, and the voters can provide some sort of informations to this particular, that is called the experts, and those experts come to a particular meeting, and moderator will be there. Moderator asks the questions, and all the experts share their thoughts. And once almost all the experts come to a particular common thought, and that is going to be forecast in the next term. Okay, so that is the concept of the Delphi method. Now come to the, after knowing the term what is called the qualitative, now moving to the term quantitative methods for the forecasting concepts. Quantitative methods is consist of your, let's say, time series forecast or the associative models. Time series model considers the moving average, exponential smoothing, and the trend projection. Moving average, it can be odd number wise moving average, like your 3 early moving average, 5 early moving average, and so on. Even number moving average, like it may be your 2-year, 4-year, 6-year. It may be weighted moving average, right? Exponential smoothing is there. Trend projections. I mean the linear, quadratic, polynomial, Cobb-Douglas, and so on. Then in associative methods, it is the multiple regressions there, right? There is a multiple regressions. We have to considering the multiple regression to predict the future data. Trend projection, there is a simple regressions. Because the linear, it is the same simple regression. If it is the quadratic, it is the linear in the second degree, polynomial, linear in the third degree, and so on. But come to the multiple, independent variable you are considering, then in that case, the multiple regression is there. Now we have to explain one by one of it with the help of certain numerical examples also. So before we proceed furthermore, so that is, let's start with the term what is called as the quantitative or the statistical methods for the predicting the future sales. And it considers the time series model. Time series means the series of data given over a period of time. let's say productions of a particular production center over the last 10 years, those data or the sales figure of a particular company in the last 10 years or the 15 years, that is called the time series data. And those time series data are going to be utilized for the predicting the future one. That is called the time series method or the time series forecasting process. For example, the business can forecast the quantity of the raw materials to order with the time series analysis and the 5 previous years. The type of time series, it may be Navi forecast, it may be simple average, it may be moving average, exponential smoothing, and the linear trend analysis are there. Navi approach is that simple average method. It may be moving average method, exponential smoothing, and the trend analysis of the trend projections, linear trend projections, not the multiple. Navi approach in the sense we have to predict the, take the case of the demand of the current period and use the next period forecast. That means, for example, it is Navi approach is a very simple thing. Let's say here the month are given up to the October, January to the October. Their order per month is already given to you. You forecast 1 lakh time period. 1 lakh time period means, let's say we start with the January, rather we have to start from the February. And those said data it will be written to be here. And what is the November demand? November demand more or less around the forecasted demand it will be kitne? 90. Okay, that is the way to forecast. This is a very simple thing. That is called the Navi approach. Navi forecasting techniques. That means the demand for the current period is used for the next period forecasted demand. So demand for this period, let's say January it will be 120. The next forecast for the February it will be 120. If February it will be 90, next forecast it will be 100, and so on. Like this way it will be going to continue. Now come to the moving average, the very, very important one. Moving average methods means we already know the term what is called the average. But what is the moving average? We have to calculate the average in a moving pattern. Let's say if there is a productions of your 10-year data is there. Let's say 2010, 11, 12, 13, up to 10 to 2020 data is given. Then if you calculate the, average, is this figure? Just a minute. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Huh? Mm-hmm. Hey, कुछ चीजें करेंगे। কি গলা তাহলে ଆମର କଣ କେସ୍ କାହାକୁ ରିପୋର୍ଟିଂ କରୁଛୁ ସେଠି ଶୁଭୁନି ରେ କ୍ଲିୟର ଶୁଭୁନି ହ୍ୟାଲୋ ହ୍ୟାଲୋ ହଁ ହଁ ହୁଁ ହୁଁ ଓକେ ଠିକ ଅଛି ସେଠି ଯାଇ କାହାକୁ ରିପୋର୍ଟିଂ କରିବ ହଁ ଠିକ ଅଛି କଥା କରିବ ସେ କଣ କହୁଛି କହୁଛି ୟୁଜ କରିବ ନହେଲେ ନେତା ଶ୍ରେଣୀକୁ କହିଦେବ ମୋତେ ଫୋନ କରିବା Okay, so let's say in case of your moving average method, we provide with the examples. Let's say 2010 to 2020 data is given to you. Moving average, suppose this 10-year average, how to calculate the 10-year average data? Add all the years, demand amount and then divided by 10. So that is the simple average, but my target is the moving average. Moving average means that, for example, I'm interested to calculating 3-yearly moving average. 3-yearly moving average in the sense, what is the demand for the 2010, 11, 12 are divided by 3. Okay. The next moving means left 2010, then 11, 12, 13, their demand divided by 3. Then left 11, then 12, 13, 14 divided by 3. That is called as the moving average. We calculate the average in a moving pattern, right? So the moving average deals with the normal average value, which is to be considered as the basic calculation for the forecasting. It allows you to remove the older value. Older value means 2010 को left करो, then 11, 12, 13 को add करो, then divided by 3. Then let's say 11 को left करो, then 12, 13, 14 को add करो, like that way. Older value it will from the data set we remove and add the new value. This makes the average move from time to time period. Okay, over the time period it will changes. The moving average method can be used to reflect the seasonality of the demand. That means for 3 year or the for 4 year, how the demand will changes. Like that way, the moving average to be calculated. For example, the business can use the weekly by weekly sales figures or the data to predict the sales for the coming week using the moving average methods. This is a very simple technique to calculating it. Let's say this is called the simple moving average. We have to just add the number, then divided by n. Simple thing. But we take one numerical example into predicting it. Let's say here my target it will, let's say monthly data is given and the order had to be given like this pattern. Okay, then how to calculate in the moving average? Let's say here we calculate the 3 yearly moving average, 3 monthly moving average. Add first 3, 120, 90, 100. That means 90, 100, 200, 310. 310 divided by 3. 310 divided by 3, it becomes 103.33. So this is the forecasted value for the April. Then next left January figure, that is 120, then add next 75. That means 90, 100, 75 divided by 3, that is your 88.3. Left 90, then add next 3, 100, 75, 110 divided by 3, this is the 95.0 and so on. That way, let's say my target is of providing the figure for the November. For the November, the first 3, the 130, 110 and 190 are these 3 divided by 3, the outcome is to be 110. This is the moving average, forecasted moving average for the month of your November. So this is the way to calculating the moving average. This is the 3 yearly. This is the example of the 3 yearly moving average. You can calculate the 4 yearly. 4 yearly means, let's say 4 monthly means add 1, 2, 3, 4 divided by 4. That will be next forecast. Left first, then add next 4 divided by 4, next forecast and so on. That is the way to predict the term what is called the method of the simple average method. Now come down to the, we already explained the another bit what is called the weighted moving average. Actually, weighted moving average means if you take the same data set, let's say I give the weightage for the 3 yearly moving average, this is the 1, 2 and 3. First you're given 1, this is the 2, this is 3. This is the weightage. Then 1 into 120, 2 into 90 plus 3 into 100 divided by 1 plus 2 plus 3. I mean 6 divided by 6. Similarly, left 120, next 1, 2 and 3. That means 1 into 90, 2 into 100, 3 into 75. Add it divided by 1 plus 2 plus 3. That is called the weighted moving average. Let's say come to the data set over here. The weightage is given here, the weightages are given. You just multiply the weightage with the data and divide it by, so that much of weightage. So that is the concept what is called as the weighted moving average. Okay. So now we have to stop it to be here. And we have to be discuss about the term rest of the forecasting technique in the coming class. But I asked you certain question in the last class. I provide you one term what is called as the book binding is there. The one question is given to you. How many of you solve that one? Do you solve it? Yes?
No, sir. No, sir. Not solved.
Cannot solve it. But you have to solve. Try to solving it. If you find any difficulties, then I can help you out. Because
Sir.
within the class time period, if you ask the question, then you can solve it. Otherwise,
Can you provide the related example question so that we can solve it?
No,
because
so-
we have slide
Okay.
is not there.
Slide. Inside the slide, 1, 2 questions are there. That rather, in order to, cover the more number of questions, you can download a particular book. Let's say, for example, in case of your the sequencing, scheduling, and so on. In case of the forecasting
We
also.
forget the table also so that we can clear the questions,
No,
answer the questions.
no, that is not the case. My target is to be, you
Share
can
the
download.
slide PDF.
Oh, it is there. It is there. I can share you the PDF file, no problem. The point is that you have to download a particular book. Okay, I do assign a particular book. You can write down the book, Operation Research. You write down a particular book, Operation Research. If you Google it, you find different books are there. You can download any specific book. In that particular book, there existence of the problem related to the, demand forecasting, the problem related to your sequencing, scheduling. Okay, you can find the large number of problems are there with the examples also. Solved examples are there, and the other example, unsolved examples also be there. You can download a specific book, any book. A lot of books are available in your web, but the title of the book is the Operation Research. Are you getting my point or not, sir?
Yes, sir.
Operation Research. You can download a particular book, what is called the Operation Research. Inside the Operation Research book, you can find the chapter, what is the sequencing, scheduling, demand forecasting. The next, let's say, next chapter, what we have to cover, that is called the aggregate planning, right? So those things are there. You can solve the more number of examples. Okay. Any other question, please? Any other question? Nothing is there. Okay. So right now we have to be wind up to be here. In the coming class, we have to cover the rest of the things of your demand forecasting. Okay.